as Sarah said, my name is Lucie FEP, and I show the business called Phantom Comics. It's a comic book store located in Dupont Circle. So I want to start with the question. Raise your hand if you know at least one of the characters on the screen. Okay, it seems that everyone knows at least one of them. Maybe some of you, maybe it's just because of the movie, but you need to know that they are all originally comics characters. So a comic book, it's a book with picture. I brought one, so if you want to see after the presentation, I can show you. Oh. So I will start with some background information about the store, and then one strength, one weakness, the competitors, well, you can see that as a threat, the one opportunity, the market performance, my two recommendations, then a conclusion and reference, and I will make sure to have time for the questions. So the Phantom Comics was founded in 2005, and the original goal was to bring comic in DC, because there is only 2 comic book stores in DC. I will show you later who they are. And it was also to make the access to comic easier. And the price for comics, it's come from $10 to $25 per comic book. So about the strength and weakness, I surveyed 10 customers, and 7 out of 10 told me that the first thing they liked about that store is that the staff is friendly and helpful. But 5 of them, regular customers, told me that there is a weak selection of comics because they are comics fans, so for them, they wish that the selection would be bigger. So about the competitor, they only have one because there is 2 comic book stores in DC. It's called Big Planet Comics, and it's located 1 mile from Phantom Comics. And Phantom Comics is located 5 minutes walking from Dupont Circle metro station. One opportunity that I didn't explore in my recommendation, but that Phantom Comics could explore, is taking advantage of the movie. Because a lot of you know the characters because of the movie, so they could promote the comic. When a movie comes out, they could promote the comic which character are in the movie. And they could also make special prize on that comics to attract people to buy them. The market performance, as you can see, it's the revenue by day of the week, and Wednesday have the higher sale. It's because I talked to the manager, and she told me that the comics arrive in the store on Wednesday. That's why they have the higher sale. Because all the regular customers, they know what they come from, so they come on Wednesday because they're sure they will find the comic they're looking for. And the sale, as you can see, I have the lower on the weekend. So what could Phantom Comics do to attract more customers, especially on the weekend, because the sales are very low? So my first recommendation is that they could rent comics. I surveyed 10 customers, and 7 of them like the idea, and they would like to rent comic. And I talked with the manager. She told me, for us, it could work because it would not be an extra cost, because they have a large selection of comic, and they could provide some of the parts of the collection to rent. So they would not need to buy extra comics to rent them. And some people maybe would be more likely to try a lot of comics and then buy those they like. Because I could understand people don't want to spend $15 in a book if they don't like it. That would make sense. So one downside of that recommendation is maybe some people will just rent the comic and they will not buy them anymore. However, for the comics fan, they will rent, but they will still buy them because I love reading, and I like to have the book. Actually, even if I rent it, I still like to buy it. So it would probably, for some people, they would probably just rent, but I think most of the people will still buy the book they liked. My second recommendation is that they should consider a partnership with Le Pain Quotidien. So Le Pain Quotidien is a place to eat. Come from Belgium, that's why the name is in French. And you can find coffee, you can find good dessert, actually really good dessert. And they have also lunch, eggs and tartine and that kind of food. And the 10 customers out of 10 would like to drink a coffee while they're reading their comics. And a way to do that is the Le Pain Quotidien could provide special price on food and drinks for people who bought a comic or who come just to read the comic that they just bought at Phantom Comic. And it's located just across the street, so that could work because people could buy the comic and then go to read it while drinking a coffee at Le Pain Quotidien. And it would advantage both business. For Le Pain Quotidien, it would be an advantage because they would attract more customers. They would attract actually the customer from Phantom Comics, and for Phantom Comics, it would make them more known. Because as a comic book store, comics are not very, very popular. A lot of people, I think that no one of you knew that store before I talked about it. So making advertisement in Le Pain Quotidien could attract for them more customer and making them more known. One downside of that recommendation is maybe it could attract only customer at Le Pain Quotidien, so just the customer from Phantom Comics coming at Le Pain Quotidien, but not more customer coming at Phantom Comics. However, they could, if they make a lot of advertisement, and if they provide some comics, like the comic they would rent, they could provide some at Le Pain Quotidien, like that people could try the comic, and if they actually like, maybe they would be curious and go to the store to see what they have, what they sell. So in conclusion, my two recommendations are that they provide comics rentals, and they consider a partnership with Le Pain Quotidien, because that would attract more customers and thus increase Phantom Comics market performance. And I think that they should consider the two recommendations, because that could popularize the comic as it was one of their original goals. So that concludes my presentation. Here you have my references, and at this point I would be happy to answer any question that you might still have.
Lucie, I'm wondering, so every Wednesday they get new comics, so because the comics come out weekly. So, and obviously not all the comics that they have are bought. So what do they do with all the unused comics? What does the store do with all the comics that are not bought by anybody, that just accumulate week after week?
Honestly, I have no idea. But maybe, I think they store it somewhere, and maybe if they follow the recommendation of renting the comics, they could actually use the comic that people don't buy to rent.
Thank you for your presentation, Lucie. Your suggestion where Phantom Comics has a partnership with LPQ, there are a lot of restaurants and places to eat in the DuPont Circle area. Why did you choose this place and not another?
Honestly, it's because it's from Belgium and I'm from Belgium. Honestly, it's because of that. But also, I know like a lot of people like the Le Pain Quotidien. I don't know why French or stuff, not like French stuff, it's very popular here in DC. There is a lot of French restaurants or Belgium here, even if people don't think it's French. So it's why it's just located across the street, and it's because they have coffee. And they have actually like really good desserts, so that's why.
Can I ask a question that's not about the business model? I believe that comics are not for children, right?
Sorry?
Comics is not for children.
Like, basically, yeah, people consider that comics is more for children, but no, they have comics for adults. And what you may have seen, I don't know, maybe, I'm not sure, yeah, it's that. That's a comics, and that's called a bande dessinée. I don't know if any of you have heard about Tintin, maybe, because there is a movie now. But that's not exactly the same, and at the origin, that was considered to be for children, and that was considered to be for everybody. But now there is also a lot of adult comics, and when I was in Phantom Comics, when I was waiting to serve a customer, I haven't seen any children. They have a children's section, but it's just a small part of the store.
So there is a stereotype that who reads the comics? Who is like...
Yeah, I think there is. I read somewhere that originally comics were for children because it's superhero stories. But now there is not only with superheroes comic, but that are the most known.
I'm curious about the industry. I don't know much, if anything, about comics, but just thinking of magazines or books, why don't people just order them online instead of waiting until Wednesday to go into a store? Or do people order them online and just have them, like Amazon, for example, just
Yeah,
shipped
they
to their
have
house?
an online store at Phantom Comics. I don't know exactly if it's like if they sell a lot of comics online, but I think some people they like to go to the store because they discover new comics. And I know for me, for example, I prefer to go to the store because I can talk with people, they can advise me things. And in Phantom Comics, their staff is really, really helpful, and they advise a lot of different comics. So I think a lot of people, they still prefer have human interaction with someone, because it's easier when someone, if the manager or salesperson from the shop tell me that comic is really good, and that she can explain or he can explain the story, and I think it's easier to know if someone will like or not. and I found that website, and they provide e-comics, like e-books, but it's comics, and they actually have it in color. And you can, if you have a Kindle, it's an e-book. You can have e-book on it. You can also find comics, and they have it on Apple Store. I didn't know that, and no, yeah, they have. It's like e-book. It's the same. They have e-comics.
Okay, can I go to my question? Since the art technology impact to these comics,
Can you speak in the book?
comics, yeah. Do you think this new trend of technology will eliminate establishing this kind of shops by having them manually or
So your question is if like the online comics could like erase the paper version. I think it's the same with the book. The question could be the same with the real book. I think no, because a lot of people they still prefer to have the real version, especially here because there is picture. It's very different to have on a screen or to have the actual paper version. I think for a book it doesn't change a lot, but for a comic, since there is like the drawing of that make everything of a comics. If the drawing is not good, you're not gonna read the comics. And I think if you have the paper version, it's much better than just on a screen.
Can I ask you, is it, I think there's another type of comics or Japanese style.
Manga.
The manga, yeah. So does manga and comics are sold in the same store?
Here they have both because there's only one floor, so anyway yes. But they don't have a lot of manga because I don't think it's very popular here. In Europe it starts to be, but here it's not, especially. And it's different. If you like the manga style, yeah, maybe it's. But in Art Random Comics they have, but not a lot.